Hi, I'm Maddie if you're new here, and today I thought it'd be fun to do a mid-year goals check-in. So looking at the goals I set for myself at the beginning of 2024 and evaluating how I have been doing on them, maybe setting some new goals for the back half of the year and creating some actionable steps to reach these goals. I just finished my third year at the University of Virginia, and I'm currently at the beach with my mom for a few days, which is why this setup may look a little different, and I just thought this would be a great time to do this reflection. Really quickly, I wanted to show you guys that I'm creating a spread in the back of my bullet journal, just like writing down these, I guess, revised goals and action items. I divided my 2024 goals into 5 different sections: school, fitness, personal, social, and career. And starting off with the school section, my first goal was to continue to work hard at the opportunities I have earned, particularly with respect to my internship and research. Honestly, I feel like I did a really good job of meeting this goal because I did put a lot of time and energy and effort into my research and internship this semester. My internship hours increased a lot and a lot of great work was done with my research team. However, there's always room to continue progressing forward. So an actionable item / goal that I want to write down for the back half of the year is to create a proposal. My internship team and I are looking to start a forest related project at the UVA Sustainability Lab, and I want to create a proposal by the end of the summer so that way in the fall we can hit the ground running with the data collection. Moving on to the second goal, which is kind of related, and that was to continue the Forest Patches project, which I have talked about a lot on my channel. It's a very big part of my life, and a goal that my research team and I had set was to plant at least 2 patches this year, and we have met that goal already. We had 2 planting days during the spring semester, so that is super awesome. To kind of expand on this goal and set a new one, since we already fully completed it, I think it would be great if we could secure more funding sources and have at least 1 more planting day in the fall semester. My next 2 goals are kind of similar, and I wrapped it up into 1 goal for the back half of the year. The 2 original goals are to keep studying hard and trying my best in classes and continuing good time management and prioritize what is most important. So I do think that I did a good job of that this semester. Full disclosure, this past semester was definitely the most hectic and stressful semester I have had in college, but for the back half of the semester, like a week or 2 after spring break, I think that I did a much better job managing my stress levels. I combine these 2 goals and to keep up good studying and time management habits, just to consolidate for the back half. These 2 things are items that I feel like I've always been very good at. I have always prioritized studying and had good time management, but I think it's important to remind yourself of what you're doing well and not just set goals for things that you're struggling in, so that way you do feel like some sense of accomplishment, and you also don't forget to slack off on things that you are usually really good at. Moving on to the fitness category, my first goal was to improve my cardiovascular fitness by starting to mix in a little running. Depending upon how you define a little running, then maybe I've met this goal. But me knowing what I meant when I wrote this out at the beginning of the year, I have not met this goal. So I have ran a few times this year, but not consistently, not very long. I personally hate running. I was actually talking with my parents about a week ago because they're both big runners. I just hate it. I don't enjoy it. But I know how important cardiovascular fitness is, and while lifting weights is still really good for you, it does not do much for your cardiovascular system. So for my actual item / goal for the back half of the year, I want to try and run at least 1 mile once a week, which I know is a really low threshold, and a lot of people run 10 times that every single day, and that's great. That is good for you. But for someone who hates running, that will be a big first step. Moving on to my second goal, I wanted to resume working out with Nick, who is my boyfriend, again, so we can hold each other accountable. Unfortunately, he and I were just so busy at school this semester that didn't really happen. He and I did get to work out together occasionally, which is really nice when that gets to happen, just because it's more fun to go with someone. So I'm sure that he and I will both be really busy in the fall semester still, but I'm hoping that there'll be a little more overlap in our schedules to where he and I can go to the gym together more frequently. My third fitness goal was to remember to stretch after each workout, and I have not done this at all. So I used to dance. I danced for 17 years and flexibility was always really hard for me, but I worked super hard throughout my 17 years to gain a decent amount of flexibility, and I've just lost all of that, unfortunately. So really all it takes is 5 to 10 minutes after a workout to just stretch it out to maintain flexibility. And the issue is that I consciously think while I'm at the gym, like, I should stretch after this, but then I just don't do it. And I'm not really sure why, because if you all have read Atomic Habits, the really viral self-help book right now, it talks about habit stacking, which is basically what I've been trying to do. I'm saying in my mind that working out and stretching go together. And I already have a well-established workout routine and habit. I go to the gym consistently 5 to 7 days a week. So I don't know why I'm having such a hard time stacking stretching on top of that, but I just need to force myself to do it for 3 weeks, 21 days, and then I will have a habit. But I just haven't been able to reach that 21-day mark of consistency. My next fitness goal was to implement ab workouts back into my routine at least 3 days a week. So whenever I was in elementary school and middle school, I loved ab workouts, which I know is super weird, but I actually did them too much to the point where I over strengthened my core and then I had lower back pain while doing ab workouts, which is not good. But now that I have been doing strength training for my back and my back is a lot stronger, I'm perfectly fine doing ab workouts. And I have done a good job of consistently implementing them into my routine. The issue is that I've noticed this has been at the expense of my strength training workouts, and I don't really want to give up as much strength training as I have this year. So I would like to see this become more of maybe like a 15-minute thing after a strength training workout. So for example, I go to the gym for an hour, and for a strength training workout, it looks like 15 minutes of warm-up, which is cardio, and then 30 minutes of weights, and then 15 minutes of cool down, which is also cardio. When I do an ab workout, it's a 30-minute walk / run, normally walk, and then 30 minutes for abs, but maybe I can switch it up to be a 15-minute walk, 30 minutes for weights, and then 15 minutes for abs, if that makes sense. My last fitness goal was to increase my protein intake to build muscle, and I had written maybe around 100 grams per day. I will say that I've been doing a decent job of at least being more conscientious of the protein that I am consuming each day. I have not been tracking what I've been eating and the protein, which I think is honestly for the best, because tracking the food that you eat can lead to some unhealthy habits. But I would be interested in tracking my protein intake for a day or maybe a week, just to get like a ballpark of how much I'm consuming. But recently I have started eating Greek yogurt, which is kind of big for the program because I have been eating vegan coconut milk yogurt for years, and I was kind of nervous about implementing dairy-based yogurt back into my diet, but I've honestly been handling it pretty well, and it's 16 grams of protein per serving, which is a big one. So for the back half of the year, my goal is to continue exploring protein sources and also circling back to ones that I have used and I know work for me. For example, I am a big vegan protein powder girly. I have been using that since high school and really like it, but in college I just haven't been using it as consistently as I did in high school. I'm not really sure why. It's just like not something that I reach for in my pantry, but I really should get back into it. Moving on to the personal section, the first two goals kind of go together. The first one is to read at least 20 books, and the second one is to read on the side as time allows. I would say that recently I have been doing well with these goals, but honestly, from January to the middle of April, I was doing terrible at these goals. So it is now the beginning of May. I have finished 3, soon to be 4 books, which is not great, but that's better than none. So for the back half of the year, I want to prioritize reading a little bit before bed each night. Even if it is only 10 to 20 minutes, that's better than not reading at all. And I also wrote myself a little note that there is still time to reach the 20 book mark. Even though it's May and I've only read 3, almost 4 books, there's still plenty of time for me to reach my goal, especially with it being summer and there not being college classes to worry about. There's just more time to read, because during the school year it's really hard to find time to read since I'm busy, and whenever I have a free moment I don't want to pick up a book because that's all I have to do for school. It's just a lot more relaxing to cut on the TV in the evening, and I'm honestly not mad about that because I'm doing like what's best for me and my mental state at that time. But I do want to get into the habit of reading consistently, since that's always been like a really big part of my life. I've always been a massive reader. My next goal, I think, is honestly like one of the most important ones of this whole video, and that is when someone asks to do something, say yes to the opportunity. This was something that was really big on my mind during my first year of college, and I think I did a really good job doing that. And then my second year definitely fell off of that, but in my personal opinion, I do think that I did a good job of coming back to this philosophy so far in 2024. I am a very routine-oriented person, and I feel like that's one of the first things that people pick up about me, because I am just such a type A personality. I love structure, I love routine. But I wrote my reminder for the back half of the year saying, say yes more, it's okay to switch up the routine. Honestly, some of the best memories that I have from college are when I have said yes to opportunities that break up the routine. My next personal goal was to go on a fun trip, either solo or with Nick or friends. And I wrote a note, you're only in college once. So I was writing this at the beginning of the year when I was thinking about booking a spring break trip, but was really ambivalent about the price point. But Nick and I actually ended up booking a super awesome spring break trip to Palm Springs and Joshua Tree National Park in California, and had an absolutely amazing time, and it was worth every single penny. I was so happy that he and I decided to do that, and if you are in a similar position of thinking about booking a trip and if it's worth the money, I would highly recommend, because you know, I just have no regrets about that. Even though it was spending a large portion of my bank account, it was worth every cent. Going along with that and other travel themed things, this one is a little vague, and I apologize, but you all will find out soon enough, and that is to have an open mind while and try lots of new things. So we'll quickly move on to the next one. The next two actually are kind of close together, so I'm just going to read them back to back. Work to reduce stress. Some things are out of my control, and don't get upset when things do not go according to plan. Everything happens for a reason. So again, the type A personality, I naturally carry a lot of stress, and I am not happy when things do not go according to the plan that I have very carefully laid out for myself. So for my back half of the year goal, I want to take 5 minutes to breathe and stretch whenever I get overwhelmed. As I mentioned, this past semester was a very trying time for me, and something that really helped when I was feeling particularly overwhelmed, which was a lot of the semester, was just taking 5 to take some deep breaths, do a quick yoga pose in my apartment, and just kind of reset mentally before getting back at it. And it's amazing how just taking those 5 minutes to reset just really increases the productivity of the next like few hours of your work. So don't think of it as a waste of time, because it's going to make you more productive in the long run to take those breaks as you need them. Moving on to the social category, all of these are kind of close together, so I'm just going to read all of my original goals first and then get into the new goals. First, we have continue to ask friends to do things, with 2 very important reminders. First, they may have been busy last semester. So I usually get really frustrated if I ask a friend to do something like 2 or 3 times and they say no all of those times, because I take it very personally as, oh, they don't like me, they don't want to spend time with me, when in reality everyone is just so busy that it's probably not that, they just have things going on. But it's really hard for me to think that way. And secondly, people want someone to do things with too. Again, sometimes I get in my head thinking like, oh, it's weird to ask this person who I just met to do something, but chances are they would probably like being asked to do something, because I enjoy it when other people ask me to do things, because it shows that they want to connect, they want to be friends, they care about me and want to spend time with me. Second goal, go out with friends a few times each semester. I definitely did do this one. And third, keep working on existing friendships and making new ones. Honestly, for all of these, I feel like I improved during the spring semester from the fall semester, but as with anything, there are some improvements. First off, I think that these goals should be more specific and measurable. So for the back half of the year, I want to ask friends to do things at least 1 time a month. And I've actually already done that this month, and it's only the 9th. So we're doing pretty good on that one. Maybe I should up it to more times. But I know once the semester gets busy, asking a friend to do something once a month will probably be more realistic. Second, this kind of goes along with what I was talking about earlier, but I'm going into my 4th year of college and I want to make the most of it, which means saying yes to things. I feel like it all comes back to that, honestly. Say yes to things. Moving on to the last category, which is career. My first goal was to keep applying for summer opportunities until something amazing works out. And spoiler alert, something amazing did work out, which I am very happy about. Again, this is going to be vague and I apologize, but you will find out soon. And my back half of the year goal is make the most out of my experience and gain clarity on grad school. My second bullet point was to research graduate programs during the spring semester to figure out which ones I want to apply to. I definitely did research graduate school programs and have a decent idea of which ones I want to apply to, but I do want to refine this a little bit. Related to that, my third goal was to apply to graduate programs during the fall semester. Obviously that hasn't happened yet, but that's still something that I want to do. And a third one that's related is decide between architecture and landscape architecture programs. I combined this into a kind of series of sub-bullets. So by the end of the summer, I want to know which programs I'm applying to. So that means universities and either architecture or landscape architecture. I, again, have a pretty good idea of this, but I want to be 100% sure by the end of the summer. Next, I want to finish my portfolio, because regardless of what programs I apply to, I will need a portfolio. And as a planning student, I don't have one. I will be starting from scratch. And finally, I want to have my statements of intent done, finished, ready to go. And obviously, I would still like to apply to grad school in the fall, and I still intend to do so. My last goal under the career section really isn't a goal, but it was more of like a statement to remind myself, and it is to not drown in a sea of lifeguards. That is a quote that I heard when I was accepted into North Carolina School of Science and Mathematics during my sophomore year of high school, which is about 5 years ago, actually more than that now, which is crazy. But that has stuck with me since then, and I think it's such a powerful quote. I am so fortunate enough to go to an amazing university, and there are so many resources there for us as students to take advantage of. And sometimes people feel weird about reaching out to those resources, but that's why they are there, and I want to make sure that I am forming those connections with professors, taking advantage of the Career Center and advising, going to the Writing Center, and just making sure that I'm getting all the support that I need and not feeling like I need to take everything on myself. And regardless of what stage you are at in life, there are always going to be people and resources available there to help you. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that and you're not carrying like the weight of the world on your shoulders when you don't have to. That is going to be all for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I think it's always really important to sit down with your goals and analyze them and just set yourself up for success in every way that you can. And yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video and supporting my channel. It really means a lot. If you all want to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, that would be amazing. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast.
It's not about personality matrixels and charts. It's all about the bumps in your heart.